Chúng tôi nói về chúng tôi của doanh nghiệp Chạm Vào Xanh, một podcast nói về đời sống thường nhật của người khuyết tật. Người bạn đang tám chuyện cùng là Yến Dung, mình là PA của chị Hiếu Lưu, đồng sáng lập doanh nghiệp Chạm Vào Xanh, doanh nghiệp của và vì người khuyết tật. Số podcast ngày hôm nay mang tên Độc lập có tay vị. Mình mới đầu khi bắt đầu làm PA cho chị Hiếu Lưu, mình không biết PA là gì. PA hay còn gọi là personal assistant, nghĩa là người trợ lý cá nhân. Mình không biết PA là gì cho đến khi mình tham gia công việc và mình biết rằng là mình sẽ giúp chị Hiếu Lưu trong tất cả các công việc thường ngày, ăn, ngủ, nghỉ, đi lại, học tập và công việc. Và rồi mình mới nhận ra mình là tay vịn chính hiệu. Đó là lý do vì sao mà bọn mình đặt tên tập podcast ngày hôm nay là Độc lập có tay vịn. Độc lập tự do đối với một người bình thường rất là dễ dàng để đạt được, nhưng đối với người khuyết tật nó sẽ xa xỉ hơn một chút, bởi vì để cần có được cái sự độc lập và tự do thì họ phải có đến sự trợ giúp của một người trợ lý hay còn gọi là tay vịn, gọi là người trợ lý cá nhân. Vậy thì cái vai trò người trợ lý cá nhân như này nó quan trọng đến mức nào, nó đóng vai trò như thế nào để mà giúp người khuyết tật đạt được cả sự tự do và độc lập? Vậy ngày hôm nay chúng mình sẽ cùng gặp khách mời Amy Baum, và chị Amy sẽ chia sẻ với chúng mình về công việc PA và PA thì làm những gì. Okay, good morning Amy, how are you today?
Great, I'm great, thank you for having me. Very happy to be
Thank
here.
you so much for receiving the invitation for joining our podcast today. We are very lucky, we are very honored to have such an experienced PA like you to join on the podcast. So could you share a little bit of your background for the guests and all of us to get to know?
Yes, great. So yes, my name's Amy. I'm from the United States. I did live in Vietnam before for 6 years, and now I'm living in Thailand. But when I was younger in the United States, I was a PA for different people with disabilities. So I haven't worked in that field in many years, but it's something close to my heart, and I'm happy to share my experiences and also reflect on how it's different in Vietnam and the US.
Yeah, thank you so much. I heard that you have been you have a time, like a period of time for about 3 years doing this job. So could you share your journey into becoming a PA?
Yeah.
Or is it a job intentionally, or you suddenly have destiny to do it?
Yeah, okay, maybe both. So my mom is a physical therapist, like Vật lý trị liệu, I think is the Vietnamese. She's a physical therapist by background, and so she worked with a lot of people with disabilities in her work. And so I always worked with them and was very comfortable around people with disabilities and understood a little bit of the social barriers that people would face. And it always, I think, taking care of people with disabilities or supporting them was always something I thought that would be an interesting job. Maybe not for the long term, but potentially something I would want to do at some point. And so I first started when I came home from university for a few summers. There was a summer camp supporting children with cerebral palsy, and they were working with different therapists, and they needed personal assistance to support them in some of the things that they were doing. And I really enjoyed that. I found it was really rewarding, and it was really great. I like working directly with people a lot, and I just really enjoyed the community and the parents, and also learning about different people's lived experiences. Because I think even in the United States, disability is still an area that's quite invisibilized, and it's very stigmatized still in many ways. And I think there's still a lack of understanding even there. And so it was something that I really enjoyed. And then from 2008 to 2011, I did it more as a full-time job in Arizona. And in that, I worked with an agency, and then the agency would have different families and different people with different needs. And then you would go meet them and see if it was a fit. And so through that, I got to work with lots of different families and different people. And I did that for about 3 years. It was something, so I was kind of in an in-between period in my life and not sure what I was gonna do in the future. I did want to work abroad, and that's what brought me to Vietnam. But for me, it was something much more appealing than being a waitress or working at a coffee shop, because it was working directly with people yeah, and just a really interesting, fulfilling experience. So
do I. I don't want to work as a waitress as well, so I applied for the job and become a PA for Hiểu, the co-founder of the company. Yeah, I didn't think it was a PA at first.
Okay.
I just think that it was like every other kind of volunteer job.
Okay.
And you mentioned about university a lot. So could you like describe a day or life of a working day of a personal assistant for people with disability?
Yeah.
People to know.
Yeah, I think every day would be a little bit different, and it would depend on who I was working with that day. But I think one of the typical days, so a family that I worked with for many years in the U.S. had 2 sons, 2 brothers that had muscular dystrophy. And so they were in bed, and then they had tracheostomy, so they had some medical equipment that they did also need to use. So they had a mix of family caregivers and nurses who would come in with medical expertise and also personal assistants. So I would usually get there in the morning as they were waking up, and then we would kind of help with showering and bathing. And then also changing their diapers. That was something that they lived with, and this was part of what we were doing together, and built that trust also with them to do together. We would sometimes wash their hair or change their sheets, different things that they might need on that particular day, or do some laundry, and then get them set up with breakfast. And then a lot of it might be companionship throughout the day. If they like to play video games, you could watch a video game together. Or be there as they were watching a TV show, and then have lunch. So another person that I worked with, they wanted to focus more, their personal goals were more socialization and going out into the community and learning how to do things and start to live a bit more independently. So that was someone I worked with that had more of an intellectual disability, and we would go out to the grocery store together and think how to shop and get different things, or we would go have a snack, or go to the park. And then also at her house we would practice certain chores, or cleaning the room or doing certain things. So yeah, I think really diverse, but really a mix, I think, of companionship, friendship, and support, but also helping with personal needs so that people can still live independently, and being that kind of support.
When I first do this job, because in Vietnam, this job is quite unfamiliar to people. It's not a well-known definition. When I first worked for Hiểu, I thought I would be in a really professional training class, that I have to work on some kind of medicines or pills that she's gonna use, or I got to do physical therapy for her, which I don't know anything about that.
Right.
But it turns out because the personal assistant accessibility in Vietnam, it's not so widely known. So the necessity for studying about those things is hard, because since the human resource is not enough. So I have another imaginings about the job rather than the reality of doing that. Do you experience anything like that, like the differences between the reality and what you expect from the job?
I think so, maybe in the aspect that it's very different with every person, I think. So they do in America have kind of short training courses for people to be caregivers or personal assistants. And then there's different levels of courses that you can take if it's a non-medical caregiver, or to have different medical qualifications, so you can give medicines or support with machines and things. So I did do a course at the agency. So I know it's very different in Vietnam, right? But in the US, a lot of this was through an agency that has kind of a standardized training program, right? And they would train everyone and then send them out to the families, and they're also monitoring the workers and ensuring that the quality is being met. So it is a little bit more professionalized. I think the thing, and they did go through in that training a lot of the things that we would be doing, right? So there were certain things like CPR or basic first aid, but then also talking about how to support someone with dignity, right, as well, which is really critical, and the role that we are there to do to support and to not do for, right, and look at some of the personality and behavioral kind of considerations you need to come in with. I think too, one of the things that surprised me too is just how close you get with some of the people and how much in love you fall with people, and you know, how much they kind of become part of your heart space and your family friends, almost. And just really funny stories I have from each of them and getting to know their personalities. And I think really just reframing the way we see humanity, I think, as well, and building empathy for all different life experiences. It was maybe something that surprised me. But I think maybe for some others, because I know not everybody is familiar with doing personal care, right, or helping showering or eating. I had experienced some of that with my mom when I was younger, because she worked with so many different people in her work as a physical therapist. So I think it is good to give some people awareness up front, so that they do know some of these things and have some of that preparedness before they go in. But I know it takes a long way to get there, right? To have a system that can also provide that training.
That's right. So when you do the jobs, you have to do a lot of things with people with disability, right? You do bathing, you do feeding them every day. So can you tell me, it's just a funny question, what is the thing that you like most about the job, and what is the part of the job that you find least appealing?
That's a tricky question. That's a tricky question.
And don't afraid to share.
I think what I like most is just getting to know different people. And getting to know them personally, I think, and learn about their stories, and then also explore different people's personalities and different things that they offer, but getting to know the families as well, and hearing their personal stories, right, and getting to know them. I think was probably my most fun part, that you're working directly with people. And then I think also that it's directly rewarding, right? Because you build a relationship with someone, and you know that you're supporting them in some way, but they're also supporting you and giving something back, and just feeling like you're also doing a job that's really contributing, right, to help someone live more independently, but also, you know, coming in with empathy and building that empathy, right, and then being able to have that relationship. I think least appealing thing, I don't know, I think it's hard to say. It's hard to say, right?
Of course,
and I mean, of course, there's things when you do, you know, that would take you time to get used to if you're helping bathe or change or something.
Yes, that's right.
But when you get used to things like that, it's just a body, and it's just another function. I think,
that's right.
I don't know, I think if anything, actually, if there were times where I was providing that companionship, but they were taking a nap or something, and then you might actually have, dead space or time, right? But not really anything too difficult, unenjoyable. How about you? What have been the parts you enjoy the most? And
in the part that I enjoy the most, might be, Hiểu is a really interesting person. She got a lot of experience in the field of inclusivity and to people with disability. She got a really interesting community as well. I wouldn't, before I do the job, I wouldn't think that I would join the community. Some of the counseling sections on the weekend, or to join the marathon, or join the or taking care of the shop. They have a really cute shop, like selling crochet animals, like stuffed animals. That is really cute. I bought a lot. I bought a lot.
We both bought a lot.
There was a lot of.
He was dying laughing.
I bought a lot. I bought for my niece, for my I even bought some to send to some of my friends in the south of Vietnam. I
sent some to my mom. I sent her a package a few weeks ago in the US, and I threw some in there.
I was like, I bought a lot of that, when we go to some kind of fairground in international school. We don't always get a lot of guests on fairground. So sometimes instead of going around invite people to buy stuffed animal from the booth, I buy it instead, and I bought it instead. And the girl who come with me to sell things, she told me that no, this is so wrong. Like, you should be the one who sell. Now you are the buyer. It's so wrong. I love those parts.
Yeah,
I buy
yeah.
things from from the company, and I get to experience their life, and see a lot of their products. And can you believe it? They from China buy their like toe, like their and I cannot do it with my hand.
Right, exactly.
I cannot
right?
even do it with my
Yeah, but
hand.
a human adaptability is amazing, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
so
yeah.
much we don't do just because we don't practice that way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
we've been modeled that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
do it that way, right?
Yeah,
It's-
yeah, that's right.
yeah.
And about the least appealing, this is hard to answer as well, because I gain a lot from the job, and the least appealing might be I used to work this as a part-time job. I have this is just my personal experience. It's not about the job. I have a lot of job. I have to go outside to do tour guide as well. Besides this, I'm a tour guide as well. Arranging the schedule to stay at Hiểu house and going out as well. I need to create a balance between those two jobs. It's really hard for me at first because I was really bad at time management. I'm really bad at that. So it was just about myself. Sometimes managing it was really hard, but now it's getting better. It's summer times and people don't go out a lot, so I don't have jobs that I have to do with outdoor.
Okay.
It's getting easier and easier.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's just about me. Just okay. So the next question for you is that why I was working with you. I feed her a lot outside from the restaurant, and there was a really sad story. She told me that there was some of her personal assistants. They don't dare to tell other people that they was personal assistant for people with disability because Vietnamese people don't have an open mindset with personal assistant for people with disability. So they thought of the job as the help. They call us the help. So there was a lot of personal assistant. They don't dare to share their job or tell other people that they are personal assistant for the people with disability. And even with me myself, I am proud of the job. I tell a lot of friends. I even write in my internship report last year. But it's hard to tell my parents that I was for Hiểu. As people who bath her, to take a bath for her every day and to feed her every day because they are conservative as well. So have you ever experienced anything like that, or do they have any prejudice towards personal assistant in your country, or the way you have been working as this role?
This is a great question and a big question, I think too. I think for the first one in the US, there definitely is still. There is. There's not. I think it's not the same as in Vietnam, but it is considered kind of an unappealing job, right? It is something that not everyone would want to do, and I think it is sometimes considered odd or strange, or people don't feel comfortable talking about all the duties they do, right? Because there is a stigma also too of, you change someone's diapers, or you help someone shower. And it's something we do for every person when they're born, right? And also at the end of life. But I think there's definitely still a lack of awareness around it, or a stigma, or it seems like an unappealing job. But I think part of the issue globally really is, I think, all types of care work that people do, whether that's direct caring for the person, or doing things in the house, or collecting firewood or water. I think globally it doesn't, it's still stigmatized, right? And so domestic workers as well, who are doing so many things around the house, are not considered professional workers, even though they do so many different things. Right, skilled caregivers who have a lot of these different skills, it's not considered a skilled profession yet, or something professionalized, right? And I think in so many different countries we also see that it's not considered a good job, or it's misunderstood, or it's seen as strange, right? So I think this is really a bigger global issue with recognizing different skills and different things. And really valuing care and caregiving in all its forms, because we all do care, right? We care for parents, for pets, for friends. We all need care in our life.
That's right.
And it's so critical, right? That we really understand, I think, the the value in it, right, and the real importance of it as well, right, to everybody's daily life. And I think it takes a lot of time. It does. It takes a lot of time. Yeah, you know, I haven't lived in the U.S. for many years. You know, so I don't know what if some perceptions have changed a little bit, but I mean, there's still, just in terms of disability, there's good policies, but it's still difficult for people with disabilities when they try and interact every day, right, with society, because I think the social awareness and understanding is still very limited, and there is still a lot of stigma around it. So there still are a lot of barriers that I think every country has work to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about some stigma. Stick to the job, right?
Yeah.
There was one of the things that I noticed when you know, watching you do the community development. There was a lot of people that told me that if you get independent, then you need to be independent completely. Because yeah, you might receive this question a lot, right? With some people with partially paralysis, they can be, they can just need help in some of the, you know, simple work, like if they cannot eat, then you can help them with the eating, or if their feet is normal, they can walk. Or but in contrast to that, with the people who have complete paralysis, they cannot do anything. Like you almost like do everything.
Yeah, you may need 24/7 care, right?
So with a lot of people who don't know about the theory, the theoretical framework of independent living, they consider that is not independent living. So what is your opinion about this?
Oh, I'm curious to ask you. Do you want to? What is the theoretical framework of independent living?
About theoretical framework, it's hard to tell, or you know, guess about, you know, professional theoretical framework. But now, from what I learned from the community, independent can be achieved. It's not about behavioral action or on the daily activity. Independent that we are referring here is we are mentioning about the independent in our decision making. The way that we decide every day, like we put ourselves in the decision. So that is what about my understanding. What about you? You have more. You have more profession in.
I think it's really interesting to hear that, though, that some people don't think it's because I think, you know, like you said, the capacity to make decisions and have the ability to make decisions of how you live your life, I think is really the definition of independence, right? And I think it's a bigger question too, of many ways, right? Independence in our economic choices, our political choices day to day, and I think everybody, you know, everybody needs support in some ways, right? No one is actually living 100% independent, right? Whether that's support economically from family or legislation, depending on, you know, areas that you're living in that also supports you. I think what you said is critical. It's that capacity to make the decisions and be independent in how you want to live. So then if you need a certain support to do that, right? And we all have some support to help us be able to do this, right? We have a car or a motorbike to get us somewhere, right? It's a tool to help us do what we want, right? Whereas if maybe you need support eating, but if you're able to make the decision of what you want to eat and how you want to eat it and the timing of that, that's where the independence comes from. Yeah, but it's very interesting that, because I actually haven't heard that in the U.S. anyone say that.
But in Vietnam they do say that a lot. And he told me that there was so many people who show, you know, a little bit objections to what she been doing. That might be Vietnamese people, right?
Interesting.
Mostly, mostly. Not only that, you know, most people assume that you have family members, or if you need medical help, you can call for the nurse or the caregiver at the hospital. So can you differentiate between nurse and personal assistant for people to know, because most people don't know that. Even with myself. I think in the U.S. the distinction is that, you know, nurse would have specific qualifications more for medical support, right? So a nurse would have, you know, that medical knowledge and be able to address
medical issues. So when I was a caregiver as well, there would be, or a PA, we would call it here, we did have a nurse that would come in at certain times, but she wasn't really there to help with a lot of daily living support, right, or companionship as well. So I think that's a bit of the difference, is that if you're looking someone to support with companionship, daily assistance and living, that is more where you can get the qualifications as a caregiver. And in America, they have many different levels as well. I think there's like a nursing assistant you can become, where you have some medical knowledge, but you're not a fully qualified nurse, and so that means you can do certain things. Because there is sometimes a mix, right, of medical support that someone needs versus completely non-medical, right, and just assistance with daily living. But yeah, I think in the U.S. there's a bit more of that distinction. Yeah.
And when I talk with you a lot, sometimes I forgot I was a personal assistant, and she told me a lot of personal story as well. So she, even if she can ask for her mom help, but she told me that sometimes she wouldn't do that, because when you ask for the help from your family member, sometimes you wouldn't be able to do the thing the way you want to. So once again, can you point out the differences between the help from a family member and the help from a personal assistant? Like, was it just simply the difference is is it just simply from in terms of skills, like professional skill that personal assistant have, but your family member don't have? So,
I think this is a very tricky one, and I know a lot of people struggle as well with boundaries as well. If you're a friend or you have a familial relationship to be a caregiver for someone. One of the things in America, actually, and I think it also depends on the state and the support, but one of the families I worked with, the family member could also receive funding from the state to be a paid caregiver. So they would go under training, and then they would actually be paid to do that. I think it is, family members may even have the same qualifications or trainings, but I think it's always difficult, right? And having that professionalized aspect of the payment, I think, sometimes supports independence more, right? Because it does get very tricky if you're supporting someone. And I think we've all been there when we've supported a family member through illness or something, and you support, and then at a certain point you might think, right? It's difficult, right? Or you might think you're asking too much, right?
Yes, that's right.
And the boundaries get very difficult, and then I think it can get difficult for the person with the disability to feel confident asking things, or like they can make independent decisions, versus someone can get into thinking, well, I'm doing this for free, you should do this the way I want, right? Whereas, like you're saying, you build a personal relationship, but because I think it is a professional relationship and there's a payment or remuneration, it also, it establishes that boundary, right? So there doesn't become the same type of, sometimes resentment that can happen, right? Or feeling that you should be able to dictate what someone does because you're doing it for free. Right?
Your mom asked her to do exercise a lot of time, and she told me she hired a personal assistant for not hearing her mom scolding at her every day, and also to do exercise.
And thinking that they know, right? Thinking they know best, or they know what to do. When they maybe don't have the knowledge or the awareness.
That's right. That's right.
But it's very difficult. It's difficult, I think, to be a family caregiver. Just like raising children, right? Raising children is not easy when people have kids, and I think it is a very difficult relationship. And I think in the U.S. There used to be at least some very good policies to support families with financial support to be able to do that. But I know it's a very different context in Vietnam, right? With the relationship with families, and the family unit, and how you think about the role of families.
You must be doing this job. You must be the assistant for a lot of people with disability, right? It's not a fixed person. So have the conflicts between you and the person who used the services have been arisen anywhere? Have it been like that?
I mean, at times,
Yes.
or there would be frustrations, like with any interpersonal relationship, right? So sometimes too, when I worked with the young boys who had muscular dystrophy, one of them was very sassy.
Yes.
And sometimes, and we joked a lot. We would
Yes.
joke with him a lot, and I'll remember his laugh my whole life.
Yes.
But yeah, sometimes he could get frustrated because it's also a difficult position, right? When you also, somebody is doing everything for you, and you're not in control of your body
Yes.
to what they're doing.
Yes.
And sometimes even if it would be an accident, or you would pull skin or something, and then he would snap at you.
That reminds me a lot of things.
It happens, right? Yeah. Or he would, or he. So they, their family was incredible, and just talking about the personal relationships too. I've stayed in touch. The boys have both died
Yes.
years ago, but I've stayed in touch with their family
Yes.
all this time, right?
Yes.
And it's a very intimate relationship you build as well too. But they loved video games, and so they were in their beds, and they had to always lay face up because they had breathing machines.
Yes.
And they would be set up. I remember this, they would have all these blankets and pillows to set them up to still play games because they could use their fingers with the mouse. And the one boy, it was like 12 different blankets, right? And so you would learn the technique of where they all needed to go, and this one went here, and this one was folded like this, but not that. Sometimes too, you wouldn't get it right, and he would get frustrated. No! Right? Like, I can't feel it. And you're like, I put it in there. I put it the right way. But it happens, right? Yeah. That's part of any interpersonal relationship, right?
It happens to every kid. Every kid is like that.
But I think, there can be those frustrations, and you work through it. It's fine. You get over it, right? And you are also there to do a job for them, right? But most of the time, no. Some of them were younger. And some of them were nonverbal, and not talking or communicating in a way that that we had any personality clashes or anything. But but I think you just build understanding for so many different experiences, right? And what people go through.
Yes.
Yeah, you build a very different picture of life, right? And how people live.
So I can see that conflict is unavoidable. When you do this job, that you have a really close personal relationship with the people that you assist. So do you think that if you have if your personality and the personality of the person that you work with, if they fit to each other, then it would be necessary, or it wouldn't be necessary to fit all the time? Like, is it outweighing the professional skills?
Yeah, this is a great question. I think this is a great question. I'm curious to hear your answer as well. But I think, I think it's difficult. It's difficult. I would say it's difficult because everybody is different, right? And someone may be a really good caregiver, but maybe they're introverted, or they don't communicate in the same way. And I don't think that means that they can never be a caregiver for someone that isn't a fit. But I do think if you're spending a lot of time together, that you do need to have somewhat of a personality match, or at least learn how to work together, right? Because I think, you're having such a daily relationship, and you're going to be spending a lot of time together. And I did see that, I think, a few times in the past, where someone just, they didn't fit together or like the personality, and it was just not fun. It was not fun for either person, and it wasn't productive. And it started to, I think, to actually hamper, or what do you say, like decrease the quality of the work. How do you feel? I'm curious. Well, and I know this is your first time doing it.
My first time doing the job, and like I mentioned, the PA services is not really accessible in Vietnam, so we wouldn't be able to switch between each other to train the person that we work with. So in Vietnam, in other country I might not know, because I haven't seen or experienced anything like that. But in Vietnam, I think if you want to work as a personal assistant, you need to get a good harmony between your in among the relationship between you and the people with disability, and especially we don't have a professional framework for the job.
Not yet.
Personality can be a thing
I'm just thinking back to like and this is also part of why it helps if you professionalize it, because I think when I did first join an agency, I think they do ask you like any populations or people that you really like to work with or not, and then they do test if it's a fit, right? Like, and families also have a say, right? Sometimes I remember when someone new would come in and they just weren't a fit for the family, and that's okay, right? Yeah, so it does take sometimes to find the right fit. Because I think if someone doesn't like what they're doing, it's a really bad experience, right? And I've seen that happen before too, where it's just not good for the person at all.
I'm gonna have a tricky question for you.
Okay.
So in like I mentioned, it's not popular in Vietnam, right? So we cannot always switch personal assistant if we want to. Then do you suggest any recommendation for change? If we cannot always train personal assistant, so if our personality it come to a mismatch, like a certain mismatch. We cannot always switch. So what should we do?
I think, I don't know. I wouldn't say I have the right answer, but I mean, some things I think I would suggest, like there does need to be more training for PAs, like you're saying, there isn't a lot of that. I think there needs to be like maybe some professional training, but also in communication, right? And learning maybe how to communicate better and understand why it's not working. But then I think also community support, right? For people that maybe don't have an option to switch, to then get support from others. How should I bring this up? How should I talk about this? How can we work through this together? And a lot of that I think is communication, skills. This is, happens in the professional workspace as well, right? We work with different people
all the time.
Yeah, and it's hard, right? It's hard to communicate differently, but I think some of that, but yeah, I think if there were communities of PAs that could talk to each other, and more community of service users, right, and people using PAs that can also talk and share these things, to learn how to communicate and work through it.
So we have a lot of another question for you. I might share a little bit why Hiểu was and other member of Chạm Vào Xanh trying to look for a personal assistant. There was I'm pretty sure that there are various students that are trying to apply for the job, but when they come to meet people with disability, they suddenly notice that they got to do the baking for the people with disability, and they found it really like apprehensive. So is there any kind of like a part of the job that you find that it is sensitive? It's because it's really sad. A lot of people come to me here, and then they pass throughout the CV assessment, and then when it comes to the interview, they ghost people with disability because they have to do the basic for people with disability, changing the diaper as well. So is there any kind of job that you might also find it? But you mentioned earlier that you might get used to it, so it might not be a problem with you. But is there any part of the job that you feel that it might be a little bit sensitive because you have to touch people, touch on people's privacy?
Sometimes it can be tricky, but I think the important thing with that is to have either the family member or the person you're helping tell you exactly what they want and what they need and what they're comfortable with, so that you know exactly what they're comfortable with. I think it is something, right, that at first can be a bit awkward, or it can be a bit strange, right? And you have to work around that level of comfort. But I think it's like anything that's just not understood or stigmatized, that you just get used to it, right? And I think probably like many people in the medical field, right? Like many of us couldn't fathom like slicing someone open, right? But for a surgeon, right? And or if you see a knee replacement, it's so violent, they rip open skin, and most people couldn't imagine that, right? But it's something else. A body is a body, and you kind of get used to it, right? But I think it is just important to, I think for people who just won't approach it at all, to try and open your mind, and then know that it's going to be something that also helps you, right? Just understand humanity, and also know that when we were babies,
Yeah.
right, someone
We are
was
the
bathing
same.
us and changing our diapers, and
We're
when we
the
get
same.
old, we're also going to need assistance, most
Yeah.
people, right? And
Yeah.
so I think understanding, that's just a body,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then making sure that you have that open communication,
Yes.
that you know exactly what the person is comfortable
Yes.
with and how you can make it a comfortable experience
Yeah.
for them.
That is very open-minded of you to consider that, though. Yeah.
But I get it, yeah. I mean, there's lots of people in the U.S. as well who would say, no, I'm not doing
And
that.
very professional of you as well. You know, when I met you, I didn't even ask like what she wanted to be. She just told me that, oh, I get used to everything. I get used to everybody seeing my body. So
Yeah.
if you are upward here, then you are the only one that being upward. So
right.
But seriously, like hiring a personal assistant, like with some people who have like severe paralysis, you gotta stick with somebody like 24/7.
Yeah.
So is sticking with somebody for 24/7 have to share the same meaning with does it share the same meaning with sacrifice your privacy?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think no. Well, but look at people who
Yeah.
live with family members.
Yeah.
Right? Also, I do the same thing. Right?
We are Asian. We have no privacy.
Yeah, Vietnamese people live in a way I could not. Right?
Yeah. Even if you don't live, with your family, you go out the street and there was suddenly some old lady complimenting on your body parts.
Oh yeah, look how
privacy.
fat you are, and this and that,
Yeah.
and I saw you coming back at 3 a.m.
Yeah. Why you so flat?
Yeah. You look old, right? Oh yeah. But I think no, I think you can still have privacy for sure. And I think the key thing again is the decision-making capability, right?
Yes.
And there need to be those boundaries at times,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Where then I want to be alone right now in
Yes.
my room, or that they still have the choice of how those boundaries are
Yes.
made, right?
Yes.
Even if they need 24 assistance, if there's, a monitor
Yeah.
that, maybe they want to be alone for a while and then they can press a button or a call on the monitor
Yeah.
if they need that
That's right,
support.
that's right,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think it's like you said earlier, it's all about the decision making, right? And the ability to have the decision to say, okay, now I want to be alone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And you have to always share your thoughts on your head.
Yeah.
And you just keep it for yourself.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not really about part. Like
Yeah.
we want to do some interesting question to memorize on stories that you experience with the people with disability. But I have a question on unusual requests from the people with disability.
Yeah.
But I see you don't highlight it, but you want to ask it? Like,
You can. Yeah. Well, it relates somewhat to privacy. Maybe.
Yeah. Relating to the personal privacy,
Mhm.
have you ever any circumstances where personal people with disability they ask you an unusual request or something that is strange, and you think that you don't have any ability to complete it. But then you done it successfully. Do you have anything like that? I can share mine after you share yours.
Okay.
I have a lot.
I'm curious what yours are about. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say actually two things. So
Yes.
one, I have had a request that I was not able to do because it wasn't quite appropriate.
Yes.
But I understood where it was coming from, and when
Yes.
this person asked the request,
Yes.
and I think that's also something which I think is one of the main benefits of being a PA and working directly with people is you really understand different life circumstances, right? In a way, if you go travel to different countries or see different people, and it was a request that I couldn't do,
Yeah.
but I understood why they were asking, and
Yes.
so I explained why I couldn't do it, rather than getting angry that they requested it and saying, this isn't appropriate, you should never have done this. They didn't understand that, right? And they were asking, in a genuine way. And so I think sometimes stuff like that does come up
Yes.
because you understand someone has not grown up the same way. They've not grown up in the world the same way and the way they had been socialized and things that they knew.
Yes.
And so I think you have to have that understanding.
Yeah.
Just like if you're in a cross-cultural workplace, right? Of this person's asking me something that but it's because of the way they are thinking about it or the way it is in their culture.
Yeah.
Maybe the request that I did fulfill, maybe not a specific request, I'm trying to think, but with one person I took care of, some of the things she wanted to do, I wasn't sure if we could.
Yeah.
Or just different things. I think like we would go to the
share.
I'm trying to think, like we would go to the grocery store and I don't even remember what we would buy or something, but I was like, why are we going to the grocery store and buying nothing? But we just wanted to practice. And she would like bagging the groceries, and so she would just like to go and sometimes put different things in. I'm trying to think, but I haven't had too many. I'm curious to hear what yours are.
You can,
because you have a lot.
You can think of a little one. With the person that I assist, sometimes there's a lot of unusual requests, but it's not across the line. It just it just
not yet
to me. Yeah, it just not yet. Someday. Someday. It just strange to me. For example, there was one day, I don't know where, the person that I work with, Hill, she got a complete paralysis, right? So she got a lot of muscle pain in her body, like in her arm, in her back, like everywhere. And in the past, last year I remember she got to do a lot of massages every week. Every week she got to go to the a medical house. I don't know. But, she got to do the massage for about 3 to 4 times. No, I don't know. 2 or 3 times a week. And they do a massage for her. But later on, a lot of things happen. She's kind of busy too, so she cannot do a massage anymore. And I don't know where she get that from. But suddenly one day I come and she tell me to make her lie down, like to show the back, like the backwards of her, and then she suddenly told me to step on her back. Step on her back to do her massages. Oh my god, I was so afraid. I was afraid that I'm gonna crack her bones or something. And she told me to, step on my back, step on my legs, step on my arms, like step on her whole hand like this.
Oh my gosh,
yes. But it is relieving. I tried. It's really relieving. It's strange.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, in Thailand they would do the massage. It's the best.
Why they doing that? You might feel like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. So it hurts so bad. But then after they complete it, come with a relieving feel. She required me to do that, and I was so afraid that I'm gonna crack her bones or something, because she's sitting in the wheelchair for all day. I'm gonna crack her bones or something. And sometimes that she always compare herself to a robot. So suddenly she's just sitting on the chair like this, and every day she tell me just crack my head, please. Crack my head, please.
Oh, I love it.
I love it. Crack my head,
do it
please.
every morning. I love it. Yeah.
She was like this, and her head it cannot stand straightly, and she always required me to please crack my head. Please crack my head. Oh my god.
I love it. Oh my gosh, it's weird, right?
It's weird.
Even when I crack in front of people, they go,
oh yeah. So I'm really afraid, because I don't have any professional training on massages or any physical therapy, which I think it's supposed to be at first. But then I was really afraid that I'm gonna crack her bones or something. It was terrifying for me at first, but now we gotta get used to it. So can you think of anything that is unusual like that? Like the same, it's funny.
No, not that. No.
Maybe we are living in a country of no rules, so there's no rules here.
But I think it's like what we said before too. Everyone is different, right? Everyone has different needs and different ways to do things. That's right.
It's so funny.
It's funny.
I have to do unusual things as well. Sometimes. Or the question earlier, I asked the question in the questionnaire part that is there any unusual thing you gotta bring to yourself? But I have things like that as well. In her wheelchair, there's a cushion on the on the chair, right? So sometimes if you bring it with the wheelchairs, nobody will curious what is that. But sometimes I gotta bring it to the laundry store so that they can wash it. And it is so strange. Like you go out on the street and you just suddenly just hold on a cushion in your hand.
Right, and they don't know what it's for.
Yeah, they don't know what is it for.
Yeah.
A lot of taxi drivers trying to ask me, what is it for? Like, why do you hold it? Why did you hold it in your hand and just carrying everywhere? Do you have anything like that, or unnecessary things like compulsory things that you're gonna bring? Because like I thought that in where you work, you want to be more professional, right?
Usually most of the equipment or things that needed the family had. Actually, the family would usually have it, or they would have gloves or different things that they needed for their setup or anything. So nothing in particular that I had to bring.
So nothing, right? Okay, so back on the track. We talked too much on weird and funny stories. So now back on the track. Personal assistant, right? As strange and new as it is in Vietnam, so can you tell us like some benefits of getting this job to be recognized by people, or getting a real legal framework refer to personal assistant?
I mean, I think it's absolutely necessary, right? It's critical that we have more professionalization around it. I think for many different types of care jobs, including domestic helpers, right? But I think it brings so many different benefits. You help build standards. You help build you build up the view of the job, right, in the public. If there's more awareness about it, right, it would be something that would be a recognized job, and then I think it's a lot better for the people that they're serving, right? You ensure better quality for people with disabilities, potentially more, supply of different PAs if there's more professionalization around it and people understand it, right? And you get that quality standard, and then you can also ensure better wages for different workers, and that it's, I think, seen differently in a job that young people would actually want to aspire to do professionally, right? Potentially, and it's seen as a good job, right? That it's you're moving around, you're interacting with different people, right? But you're really doing something that's supporting someone else directly and really rewarding, and then learning different skills and how you do that, whether that's time management or different communication skills, right? Or maybe cooking skills, depending. I think it's really, really critical that we start to move towards that. And that would also really help build the awareness.
If you have, if you have a chance to, reverse back into the past, like to the day that you first become a personal assistant, first time ever, do you have any advice on your younger self, like in the past?
I think my biggest advice, and maybe for someone that's doing this, and it wasn't my first time, but it was another job that I had, I think is give it time and keep an open mind, right? Give it time and keep an open mind, because I started working with someone that I thought, this isn't working, and I don't know how to interact with them, and this isn't right for me, and I gave it a little bit more time, and then I absolutely loved it. Because I understood a little bit better like what they needed and what they enjoyed, and then how we could interact together and what we could do. I think that's the key thing. If you find something that you don't like right away, don't quit the next day, right? I think like with
it's for every job.
Keep an open mind, and I think also question your thinking and assumptions. I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is like make sure to reflect on the ideas that you're coming with, or the bias, or the stereotypes, or the assumptions that we're making. And make sure you reflect on that first. What about you? Any advice you would give to yourself or someone just starting? You're still very young, but
it might be tough. It might be tough, but if I could give something to myself like 7 or 8 months ago before I do this job, maybe I'm not really knowing, but maybe it should be a little bit preparations on what amount am I going to face, or learning how to time management as well. You got to stay overnight at the people with disability house, and if I reverse back in time, I want to try tell my parents about it.
Yeah.
I do it without telling my parents to do it. I would love to have them to acknowledge what their daughter is trying to do, and also I don't know, but refer to professional skills. I don't have much. Maybe if I reverse back the time, I would try to find out more about it. But it is pretty inaccessible as well. I try to find every time I start a new job. I try to look up on it online. But, maybe I will talk to my younger self. Trying to find it on YouTube.
Right.
I'm gonna find more documents of the independent living. Child law. 11 years ago, I know about it more, and so we talk a lot about personal assistant, and but though we in Chạm Vào Xanh we have a really big lack of people with with a job personal assistant. So if you have to do the recruitment for us, what you gonna tell? Now we're gonna do it right here. What you gonna tell to the guests that listening to the podcast?
I would say give it a try, right? It's a really rewarding job. It's something where you get to move around, which I mean I enjoy. You're working directly with people, learning new things. And it's really rewarding. I would say give it a try.
Give it a try.
What would you say?
It might come with a low rate, but valuable experience. That's what I would say. It's trust me, guys. It's more interesting than working in the coffee shop, being a waitress, and especially people who work in the field of community development. This can be a good chance for you to, have a deeper perspective into the community. So that is also the thing that we want to share. With the guests over here. Do you have any more questions or any other thing to share? First thing, oh no, it's so. I thought they don't put the so she put in the job description that she gonna pay 30,000 VND for each hour. So I'm really innocent that time. So I think that I'm gonna sleep over at her house. So I count
every hour.
I count like the hour that I sleep. People with disability in Vietnam, they cannot pay you like 30,000 VND per hour for the exact same.
Every hour.
After I usually count my salary by after 6 p.m. I'm gonna count it like at 9, and she gonna pay me about 100,000 VND per night. So that time I thought that I just go to people's houses, I sleep, and I earn money from sleeping. So I apply for the job. I think that I'm gonna be rich. But then I stayed because here is a really interesting person. She taught me a lot of things, from her mindset and everything. But really funny, she laughed every time I mentioned about the story. You get money from sleeping. But I was so innocent.
No, Joy.
And when I come, I witnessed she used about 6 million VND to 8 million VND, 6 triệu and 8 triệu every month to pay for the BA. Suddenly I require no more. It's so funny.
Trời ơi.
It's so awkward. If I stay with her for like 24 hours, it would be like I make the calculation. I make 30,000 VND, and if we got 30,000 VND for each hour, then how many money I'm gonna get in 24 hours? Oh my god, I'm gonna be rich. Turn out it's not.
So funny.
That's why I thought it was.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I have to meet someone at 1:15.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So maybe we're gonna end the podcast here. I'm gonna say goodbye.
Okay.
I'm gonna say goodbye a little bit. Wait, let me
Editor will have a lot of work. We take that part out.
Thời lượng của podcast thì có hạn, nhưng hành trình độc lập của người khuyết tật và những người trợ lý cá nhân thì còn rất nhiều điều để kể. Chúng mình hy vọng rằng qua số podcast lần này các bạn đã có những góc nhìn sâu sắc hơn, cũng như những đồng cảm sâu sắc đối với hành trình sống độc lập của người khuyết tật. Nếu bạn có hy vọng được trở thành một người trợ lý cá nhân cho người khuyết tật thì đừng ngần ngại liên hệ với chúng mình nhé. Hẹn gặp các bạn trong những câu chuyện truyền cảm hứng lần sau. Bye.